Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you like these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. Then I could deliver videos like this to your inbox as soon as tomorrow morning. And if you like this watch, I don't blame you, and you can buy it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com 24 hours a day globally. This is a timepiece that represents the best of dealer-specific limited editions. It is the Oris Divers 65 Topper limited edition of 100 pieces, a 2016 dealer-specific follow-up to the 2015 sensation Oris Divers 65. This one was created in conjunction with U.S. dealer Topper Jewelers of Burlingame, California, and the dealer branding is so subtle you could be forgiven for missing it. It's on the case back, so let's talk about the upside, literally the top side of the watch, bracelet, and case. All of this watch is of stainless steel and it's 40 millimeters in diameter, which means on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it fits a treat. The timepiece has traditionally compact proportions. It doesn't have the brutality of a modern dive watch, which oftentimes looks like a bank vault on your wrist or an armored car rolling up for an assault. This one could work as a dress watch, 12.8 millimeters thick with a generously sloped bezel and domed sapphire. It's only 47.9 millimeters lug-to-lug, so I endorse this watch for wrists as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. You're going to wear this one well. Now, of course, the timepiece has a 20 millimeter lug spacing, so if you do wish to take it off this bracelet and wear it NATO style on a strap, perhaps you'll have many 20 millimeter options, as 20 millimeters is the spacing, and there's worlds of Oris OEM and aftermarket straps from which you may choose. The stainless steel case continues with a stainless steel bracelet. Now, it is a vintage simulated rivet style, and I'll say of the two simulated rivet bracelets most prominent in the vintage tribute dive sector, this and Tudor come to mind, and this has it all over Tudor. Tudor has a more brutal, industrial looking, and yes, modern looking rivet style bracelet on the Black Bay series. This appears a little thinner, finer, more delicately proportioned in a way that is simply more authentically evocative of the 1960s. I'll take this one over Tudor. Thank you very much. Handsomely made with satin finish to reduce glare. You can see that there's a little bit of a step between the flank and the link to simulate the joined side panel and the top and bottom and side structure of an original rivet bracelet. Moving on to the clasp, it is substantial satin finish, and when closed, closes with a snick, opens by virtue of twin triggers. Twin triggers as opposed to a cheaper clamshell or, God forbid, on a dive watch, friction fit. Robust and nicely made. It features multiple adjustment holes, so if you have your strap tool, you can quickly size this one to suit. You'll also note that the bracelet features conforming end links that trace the arc of the case. As you can see, it closes the gap and removes any daylight for a highly integrated look. This is all of a piece. More power to Oris for it. You'll also note that the swell of the lugs nicely matches the taper of the bracelet, with the end of the lug almost the exact same thickness as the bracelet links. The case band is slim and, by the standards of dive watches, almost knife-edged. Very handsome, elegant, a perfect match for formal attire. I can't overemphasize that if you're looking for an all-around watch that really pairs well with a suit, doesn't just work but excels, this is your diver. Satin finished hoods to match the finish of the bracelet links and reduce glare. When you look at the bezel, you can see that the outer circumference is all of high polish, that is, it's bare metal. The original 2015 Divers 65, we can get a little bit closer now that the watch is off the wrist, but the original 2015 Divers 65 featured a DLC blackened outer circumference about its bezel that felt a little bit less authentically vintage and was also scratch prone. I like this better. Though it is a vintage inspired bezel, complete with simulated patina luminescent pearl, it is still a modern unidirectional action. The sound and the feel of this rather narrow bezel are among the best I have encountered. I'm putting this right up there with my favorites, the Rolex Submariner / Sea Dwellers and the current crop of Panerai Luminor submersibles. I like it that much. Line it up with the minute hand, and I've often said a dive bezel is the best chronograph ever made. Where most chronographs only read 30 minutes, a dive bezel reads to 60. While most chronographs feature a small sub-register for minutes, a dive bezel gives you a big scale and a giant hand, and none of the downstream service costs of a chronograph. The dial, quite a few refinements here. Compared to the 2015 Divers 65, the most obvious change is the elimination of the date. Dive watch purists who think a date has no place on a dive timepiece, a pure tool watch for essentially timing your dive, well, rejoice, this watch has no date, and that goes double for you who hate dates on dive watches and on vintage tribute divers. Perfect symmetry without the date. You also see that the Swiss made is split by the index at 6, and rather than a statement of water resistance as on the original Diver 65, you have a more vintage evocative anti-shock and jeweling notice. The logo also changes a bit from the 2015 as there's no slash dividing Oris and automatic. Beautifully balanced with quarter Arabics and plenty luminescent. There will be a lume shot, stay tuned. The Sapphire is sensational. I've never seen a Sapphire, scratch resistant, make no mistake, that so accurately emulates the shape and distortion effect of a vintage plexiglass. Oris, you get more than full credit. You get bonus points for this one. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best vintage style Sapphire that I have encountered. You get all of the fun of a plexiglass with none of the compromise. Now, screw down crown, no crown guards, true to vintage form, turn it over. You're going to be hard pressed to find the co-branding on this watch. There's almost nothing that screams, I'm a topper special edition. Almost nothing. There's a small engraving on the case back next to my finger. That's it, full stop. 100 pieces, this is number 36. Remarkably discreet, solid screwed-in construction, modern dive watch assembly. And unlike a true vintage watch, you can actually take this 100-meter water-resistant watch in the pool or the surf. I don't recommend anyone take a watch more than 30 years old in the water. This watch, inspired by a timepiece from 1965, does what the original cannot. It can get wet. Underneath that caseback, Sellita SW200 base, which is a Sellita version of an ETA 2824, so tank tough, bidirectional automatic winding, 38-hour power reserve, 28,800 vibrations per hour. The dial does not lie, 26 joules, and when you screw out the crown, you can activate hacking or stop seconds to synchronize your dive watch. Nicely executed. The dial is handsome, balanced, pure. The Sapphire is spectacular. The bezel is crisp. The case is versatile. The bracelet is evocative. And the model, a limited edition of 100 pieces, is rare. You can make one of the 100 your own on our website.